friends, this is Chandra from Akulmac Technologies. Welcome to Top Brass. Today, we have been joined by very eminent leader of the industry, DCF Ventures CEO Lakshmi Potluri. She has been well known in the industry. She is also well known as an angel investor and also former co-founder of Jabong. Welcome to the show, Lakshmi.
Hi, CK. Thank you for having me on the show.
It is our pleasure, Lakshmi. In fact, today is day 15 and the entire India is under lockdown. In fact, many countries globally are under lockdown. What is the kind of impact you see in your neighborhood and your community that might have caused some sort of problems or issues with the people?
Okay. I wouldn't say necessarily problems or issues, but obviously there is, complete silence. You can, imagine it almost seems like, the place has come to a standstill. So that is, for a city like Bombay especially, it's never happened. So that's something which is unusual. Although I'm sure, the communities are all, making the best of, the situation in terms of adhering to all the guidelines, making sure, social and physical distancing is practiced. And also, engaging actively and making sure you spend quality time with your family members. That's one. So from a community perspective, of course, this is something unavoidable. But the good thing is, of course, I think, and we've been seeing a lot of these posts, like Bombay has seen dolphins emerge near the sea and the parks, are seeing a lot of the wildlife that's enjoying this, I think, change. So that's a good thing. And we just have to keep our fingers crossed that slowly we will, find a good balance between keeping in mind, the environment as well as bringing our lives back onto track before this isolation and lockdown.
Lakshmi, I think Indians are by and large very innovative and almost like 99.99% Indians are following the government guidelines. And they have been very innovative in order to follow the guidelines and also solve the problems. But having said that, that's on the personal side. There has been a little bit of a standstill situation where there are certain businesses which are not able to take any further decisions. So do you see from your point of view any adverse sentiment which is creeping up into the business?
See, I feel like the more positive conversations are always going to be good. Absolutely. I'm sure at the back of everyone's mind, this is an ongoing thought process. There are probably, every business is going to be impacted. There is no doubt. We're talking about, 1 month of complete lockdown, and then post 1 month of lockdown, there's going to be things that have to come to normalcy. And it's a full life cycle, right? Like it's going to have ripple effect across from top to bottom. Businesses are going to be impacted, thereby people are going to have different environment in the whole job scenario. Although I hate to use the word downsizing and layoffs, the businesses have to do certain things to survive, and that plays over at all levels, right from a restaurant that's hiring housekeeping staff. There's going to be changes, and so that is going to play on people's sentiment. And I'm sure people are trying to be very positive. Businesses are being, for a month right now, I think everyone is mentally prepared, like, we'll take this and we'll try to support, ensure that no one faces any serious impact. That said, no guarantees for anyone. And so, yes, there is a little bit of sentiment change, and I hope that we'll be able to bring that back as soon as we can. And I think the government has done a phenomenal job already in terms of ensuring, the lockdown is well adhered to, and we do, have hope of coming out of this very quickly, even compared to some of the more so-called developed nations, as we see, are struggling dealing with COVID. So I'm waiting for things to kickstart as soon as we can, and as we, hopefully all our positive sentiments together can, help kickstart along with the support from the government as well.
Lakshmi, you are such an experienced person. You are having 2 decades of career behind you. You're well known in the industry. Uh, from your point of view, do you have an opinion about what a government of any country, any nation should do after the lockdown is lifted in order to improve the sentiment, in order to improve the business?
So I can't speak from perspective of all nations, because every nation has a very different DNA, different kind of setup and all that. But given that right now we can talk perhaps a little bit about India as from ensuring containment. I think we are doing a phenomenal job as a country. Every citizen is playing a role. And likewise, while we do expect the government to bring in a lot more stimulus, because we've seen like the US has announced a $3 trillion stimulus, and we are 4 times larger than US, so the stimulus has to reflect that kind of a boost and a positive sentiment. And I do hope that we'll start seeing more positive stimulus and positive some policy support that we will get from the government, that will also naturally play into the business sentiment and boost the business sentiment, boost the people's emotional quotient, and on the mind space and mindset. So that's something that I cannot put a number as to what is that number that India should bring forward as a stimulus, but I am sure that they are working on something bigger and larger that is going to be announced shortly and announced soon. Apart from that, I do believe that as citizens, we all will also play a certain role. For example, encouraging a lot of the small businesses in and around. So, for example, like Singapore right now, and of course, the kind of sanitization levels there, and the kind of adherence will probably be different. But Singapore is actually encouraging people to order outside, and asking people to order outside and support restaurants and other businesses there, right? So that's something like maybe we may not choose to order outside, but there are small businesses in and around us where we should support, and right from staff in each of our immediate ecosystems, how can we support them? I think that's a small role as citizens we all can play. And then the government will come in, and I'm very positive that they will come in and play a role which will be very positive to business, positive to small and medium enterprises, which are going to be a little bit far more hit than maybe the larger organizations.
Lakshmi, you have raised a very profound question here. So, do you see the change in business process after this lockdown situation is lifted? Do you see a new way of doing business which will emerge after this lockdown is lifted?
So the first part of question was, can you just repeat the first part? Second part I got.
So it is just one question. Will the business process will change after this lockdown?
Oh, absolutely. We've already seen it change. In fact, I'm part of a few other business, groups where, it's mixed background. Like I come from a digital background. I've seen even when I worked at IBM between 2002 to 2006, IBM was already 50% work from home at that time, right? But a lot of the businesses that don't come maybe from a tech background or come from more traditional businesses, think agri, think, energy companies, even government employees, a lot of them are just experiencing the digital transformation. They're understanding that work from home can be possible. So I think that shift, both from a transformation on the digital front, which is happening in sectors like education. Clearly, we've just seen, all the institutions are quickly ramping up to be more digitally ready. And we are also seeing many of the traditional businesses who've suddenly been dislodged, and now having meetings online. They're actually starting some of the more essential service businesses are functioning at higher productivity levels as well. And these learnings, I think, will play into how businesses will revisit what they do post-COVID. This will also help them, enhance their bottom line. Some of these learnings going digital. And optimizing this, hopefully that will be a very positive shift, helping businesses with some of the cash flow crunch that they might have thought they would face.
Excellent words of wisdom, Lakshmi. In fact, I personally get a lot of value after talking to you. I think there is a clarity you as a leader, you're giving to our audience and our viewers, that there is going to be a bit of a change in the way we do things, in the way we do business, I think that is going to change forever. So I just want to tell you is that, Lakshmi Potluri, you have been a great inspiration. It was wonderful talking to you today, and I think we will find another opportunity very soon, before the lockdown is lifted, to talk to you again, to see or to take your advice on how things are in the neighborhood, any new things that are happening in the industry. It was wonderful talking to you, Lakshmi.
Thank you, CK. Very nice talking to you as well, and thank you for the opportunity. Hope all the viewers of your videos and series enjoy the series. And stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.